Hey you! Yes, you! Do you like mystery, true crime, danger, and riddles? Then you're in the right place. From death-defying decisions to solving some serious crime, it's time you step into the shoes of YouTube's greatest detective as we tackle some mind-bending riddles and just maybe crack the case of the century. We began at the weekly Great Detectives Brunch Party, which, as a great detective, you're excited to attend. You're enjoying an unforgettable luncheon with fellow investigators Benoit, Jessica, and Columbo, when suddenly tragedy strikes. After turning away for just a moment, you realize someone ate the entire cake you brought and didn't even save you a slice. The three detectives all immediately begin pointing fingers at each other. Columbo exclaims, "I didn't eat the cake, and I always tell the truth." Jessica pleads,
Columbo did eat the cake. He's lying and I'm innocent.
Benoit retorts, "Jessica did it. She's a liar." Your great detective gut tells you that only one of these three is lying, and your gut's never wrong. With that in mind, who ate the cake? Let's look at the statements again. Remember that your gut tells you only one of the three is lying. With that in mind, the liar must be Jessica. Because if she were telling the truth, it would mean Columbo and Benoit would both have to be lying. Mystery Muncher unmasked. As you all laugh about how easy and funny that was, a butler approaches with a call for you all. It turns out there's a new client on the other end with a killer case. You and Benoit both claim it at the exact same time. Now, being old friends, you decide to settle things over a drinking game. Whoever can finish their drink the fastest wins. Unfortunately, you have a giant wine glass and Benoit has a small shot glass. To make things fair, you and Benoit start with both drinks on a table and decide that neither player is allowed to touch or move the other player's glass. Benoit offers you 3 ways to play the game. A. You drink together and whoever puts their glass down first wins. B. While being timed, you drink first and Benoit can drink only after you've put your glass down. C. While being timed, Benoit drinks first and you can only drink after he's put his glass down. Which of these rules do you choose if you want to beat Benoit? While it may seem impossible to win, the answer is to drink separately and go first. You take your time with your drink, enjoying the wine's subtle flavors, and once you finish, you place the glass upside down over Benoit's shot glass. As the rules of the game stipulate that neither player can touch the other's glass, Benoit can no longer reach his drink and so cannot win the game. Benoit congratulates your critical drinking skills and graciously concedes defeat. The case is yours. To start the case, you need to head to a large mansion on the outskirts of town. The client sounded panicked, so time is of the essence. How should you travel to your destination? A. You drive your beaten-up Cadillac through town as fast as possible. B. You borrow Columbo's bicycle and take a shortcut through the suburbs. Or C. You wait at the bus stop and take public transportation. The only real option is the bus. Remember, you just finished a large glass of wine. The case may be important, but it isn't as important as road safety. You know what else is important? Hitting those like and subscribe buttons right down below. Let me know if you've got that last one. It was a little sneaky. Anyway, let's move on to the next riddle. The journey is long but fairly peaceful. That is until you hear the sounds of snickering. Looking around, you see 2 boys pointing and laughing at you. They each have curly red hair, freckles, and green eyes. They also appear to be the same height, age, and have the same facial features. You decide to ask the 2 troublemakers if they're twins.
Nope,
Says the one on the left, who chuckles.
you'll never get it. We look the same and have the same last name, but we ain't twins.
The one on the right sheepishly adds,
We share a birthday and we have the same parents too.
Not enjoying being made a fool of by two brats, you decide to crack this mystery. So, A, is the laughing boy lying? B, is the shy boy lying? Or C, are they both telling the truth? You laugh back at them. The answer is obvious. They're both telling the truth. If the boys aren't twins, then they must be triplets. Their other sibling simply isn't with them right now. Put in their place, the two boys quiet down a little, and you enjoy the rest of the journey in peace. Unfortunately, you're distracted once again, this time by the oddly bumpy ride. You go and ask the driver what the problem is. Before you can get a word out, however, the bus zooms around a corner, only for you to witness a horrible sight. Standing on the side of the road is a group of Girl Scouts in the middle of a puppy parade. On the other side of the road stands the President of the United States enjoying an ice cream. The bus is moving fast. You have time to yell at the driver to hit something. But what? The brakes. What else would you have them hit? The bus comes to a screeching halt and the President, Girl Scouts, and puppies are all unharmed. Coincidentally, the bus stopped right where you needed it to. The mansion is just a short walk away. You arrive at the enormous mansion of the esteemed horse breeder, Rich Uncle Cheval. He's not your rich uncle. His full name is Richard Uncle Cheval. You see him tying a horse to a post outside the mansion. He turns to face you, tall and imposing, and silently greets you with a stiff handshake. He tells you that before he can trust you with such an important case, he first needs to test your deductive abilities. He brings out 3 animals and asks, which of these creatures can jump higher than my mansion? As he motions towards A, a beautiful well-groomed mare, B, a large muscular stallion, and C, a short, incredibly stupid-looking donkey. The mansion, you notice, is at least 30 feet high. What's your answer? After pondering the question for a moment, the simple answer reveals itself to you. All of them can jump higher than Cheval's mansion. His mansion can't jump, after all. Cheval nods and strokes his chin. Impressive, he mutters. Very well. Cheval informs you that he had some glittering jewels stolen from his home earlier this year. While he doesn't know the exact date of the theft, he knows that one of his friends, either Clara, Ben, or Rolf, is responsible. These 3 are the only people Cheval has ever allowed to visit his glittering jewels room, the room all rich people have somewhere in their homes. He's met with the trio 3 times this year and took a commemorative photo of them all each time. This picture was taken in February, this picture was taken in April, and this picture was taken in June. From these pictures alone, you think you can figure out who stole the glittering jewels? Was it Clara, Rolf, or Ben? The answer is Clara. In the second photograph, which was taken in April, Clara appears to be heavily pregnant. However, there are no signs of pregnancy in February, which was only 2 months earlier. In June, she's back to the size she was in February. It seems obvious to you that she's smuggling glittering jewels under her sweater in that second picture. After hearing your deduction, Cheval freezes. He looks furious, but you can't quite tell whether it's because he was stolen from or because he didn't put 2 and 2 together. He tells you he needs time to process this and that you're welcome to wander his estate in the meantime. You enjoy petting the horses and walking in the sunshine. As clouds roll in and it starts to rain, though, you decide it's time to head home. Nothing more satisfying than a straightforward case, right? Oh dear, spoke too soon. You hear a blood-curdling scream billow out from Cheval's home, and you rush over to investigate. When you arrive at the front door, Cheval's maid Maggie explains the scream came from upstairs. Unfortunately, the storm seems to have knocked out the power, and she's too scared to head inside. Creaking open the front door, you take out a matchbook, and there's a single match left inside. Looking around the room, you can just barely make out a candle on the nearby shelf. There's also a lantern by the floor at your feet and a sconce holding an old but large torch on the wall. The question is, in this tense situation, what should you light first? The match. You can't light anything else without it. Casting light over the foyer, you eventually fumble your way up the stairs in the direction the scream came from. The lights suddenly flicker back to life as you find yourself in a large study. There's an expensive rug on the floor, bookshelves full of books ranging from history to toxicology, one of them open on a table near the armchair along with a bookmark, and even a fine brandy collection. However, there's no sign of Cheval, just a large, strange, handleless door towards the back of the room with a small slot next to it. Peering around the corner, Maggie says she doesn't know what's in there and has never been able to get inside. Something in this room doesn't make sense, and whatever it is, you get the feeling it'll get you through that door. But where is it? A, the rug, B, the books, C, the table, or D, the brandy? Well, the rug, the books, and the brandy all look normal, but a closer look at the table reveals something suspicious. This book here has a dog-eared page. The reader folded the corner of it over to remember what page they were on. Why not use the bookmark? That's because it's not a bookmark at all. It's a key card. You swipe the key card through the slot near the door, and it opens. You enter a second secret study. Cheval must really like his alone time. At the end of the room is a large smashed window. Rushing over to look outside, you see a fast-moving river down below. In the middle of the room is an armchair in front of an old TV and camcorder setup, with a videotape gently placed on its seat. Filled with dread, you put the tape in the TV and press play. A video of Cheval immediately begins playing. He explains that without his glittering jewels, he's financially ruined. The only option he has left is to leap from the window. He apologizes, walks off camera, and... While this seems like a tragic turn of events, something about it doesn't feel right to you. Which piece of evidence here doesn't make sense? A, the videotape, B, the smashed window, C, the TV and camcorder, D, the weather. Let's look at each of them. The weather is, well, it's the weather. Nothing weird about that. The TV is old and so is the camcorder, but there's nothing about it that suggests the setup's been tampered with. The smashed window makes sense. There was no way to open it, and the glass appears to have been smashed from the inside as there's no glass on the floor, so no one broke in. But the tape? The message Cheval left ends with him walking off screen to his untimely fate. But if that's the case, who rewound it to the beginning, took it out, and placed it on the chair? That means someone else must have handled it after Cheval jumped. Or he was forced to jump. Yikes. Peering out the window again, you notice there's something you can't quite make out on the riverbank below. A clue, perhaps? You race down to see what it is. When you reach the riverbank, you realize what you spotted was a coil of rope. Did someone climb up it to reach the secret study? Unsure, you decide to take it with you. You're now standing at the foot of the river behind the house. It looks like a rope bridge once connected each side of the river, but someone on the other end cut it. You consider swimming across, but the water is moving way too fast. All you have with you to help in this situation is the rope you just found. You consider lassoing a tree on the other side, but alas, you're a detective, not a cowboy. There are numerous trees along either side of the river. Your rope is long enough that it can reach from one point to any other you can see here. The question is, how do you use it to get to the other side? While it seems impossible at first, your solution is ingenious. You tie one end of the rope around this tree, then tie the other end of the rope around this tree here over the bend of the river. Once both ends of the rope are tightly tied around each tree, you can shimmy along the rope, dropping down on the other side of the river. Phew! Once you reach the other side, you wander through the woods and find yourself at the bus stop you got off at earlier. Waiting nearby is a little old lady with an umbrella. You ask her if she's seen anything suspicious, and she says she has. But she wants a favor before she helps you out. The old lady Edith says she's trying to find her friend. She was told to meet her at the only place around you can't see the flag on top of the nearby water tower. Confusingly, it looks like the water tower is the most visible thing for miles around. Take a look at this image of the landscape and tell me, where could Edith's friend possibly be? Edith is right. The water tower is visible for miles around, no matter where you are. But you know what isn't? The flag on top of it. If Edith's friend is waiting directly beneath the water tower, then they wouldn't be able to see the flag even if they looked straight up. Overjoyed, Edith tells you what she saw. Shortly after arriving at the bus stop, she noticed a set of strange, out-of-place tracks heading north. Sadly, the rain has since washed them away. Fearing the trail has gone cold, you decide to return to the scene of the crime. Arriving back at the mansion, you quickly learn that besides Cheval himself, there were only 4 people in the house at the time of the incident. Maggie the maid, Cheval's wife Belinda, his nephew Mark, and his brother Dunstan. You decide to check each suspect's alibi for the time you heard the scream, one by one. Belinda says she was relaxing in the sauna. Maggie says she was cooking in the kitchen. Dunstan says he was stargazing on the balcony. And Mark says he was napping in a guest room. One of their answers doesn't make sense. But which one? Well, all of their answers seem plausible, except for Dunstan's. At the time of the incident, it was both raining and overcast. How could he be stargazing? Speaking to Dunstan, he admits he was actually in the living room answering a phone call. The call was quick and mysterious. A voice said, "I'm on my way to the secret meeting place now. See you soon." After that, he heard the scream. He says he doesn't know what the call was about, but another member of the family will. Looks like you're going to have to question either Belinda, Mark, or Maggie. Because he's scared of getting involved, Dunstan won't tell you who to speak to directly. Instead, he'll tell you in the form of a cryptic puzzle. What is it with these people and puzzle games? Dunstan ushers you into the dining room and tells you that an object in there will reveal who you should speak to. But what is it? A, the grandfather clock, B, the dog beneath the table, C, the pictures on the wall, or D, the food on the table. You peer at the clock, and it seems to be running on time, so there's no messages hidden in its case or on its face. The food on the table is untouched, but there's nothing about its layout that's suspicious. The dog is adorable, but there's nothing on its collar. The pictures on the wall strike you as odd, though, especially the weird artsy one with the question mark. Wait a minute. Question mark? Question mark. That's the message. Annoying, but smart. You question Mark and he collapses like a souffle. He tells you the secret meeting spot must be the old guest house up north, but he's confused. Only he and Cheval knew it was still standing. Curious. With no time to waste, you hop on a horse and ride as fast as you can to the guest house. See, there was a reason I put horses in this setup. You arrive at the creepy old guest house, and boy, Mark wasn't kidding. This place makes a prison look like a preschool. You approach the guest house only to realize that whoever set up this meeting also set up some terrifying security. There are 3 ways into the house. A, the front door, but to get there you need to pass through a garden filled with aggressive and incredibly venomous snakes. B, the back door. However, the path there is lined with the Nastius croceus, the most poisonous frog in the world. C. Through the locked kitchen window. Inside the kitchen are 3 napping attack dogs which look vicious, but they're sleeping. Which way do you enter the guest house? Okay, let's think this through. Aggressive, venomous snakes? You're dressed for brunch. There's no way your clothes could block a bite from one of them. What about the kitchen window? Being locked, you'd need to smash it to get it open, inevitably waking the guard dogs and inviting a lot of bites. While the nastiest Croceus is indeed deadly, it's poisonous, not venomous. Venomous animals like the snakes by the front door inject their poison into their victims, but the toxin of poisonous animals only affects you if they're swallowed, inhaled, or absorbed through the skin. You walk along the path simply avoiding the frogs and reach the back door. You slowly creep down the hallway of the guest house, floorboards creaking as you go. Hearing a familiar voice, you stop outside a closed door. Your mind is swimming with possibilities, so before you head inside, you decide it's time to determine who do you think is responsible for Uncle Cheval's demise. Consider all the clues you've stumbled across on your adventure, and once you're confident you have an answer, tell me in the comments down below. Anyone who gets it is an ace detective. You have 10 seconds. Ready? Examining the clues, all the evidence you have points to Uncle Cheval himself. He must have faked his own death. Only Cheval knew about the second secret study. Once he was there, he recorded his message, wound the tape back, smashed the window, and climbed down the rope. After that, he yanked it down, destroyed the rope bridge, and made his way to the guest house, which only he and Mark knew about. The out-of-place tracks he saw were his footprints. Once there, Cheval set up the various venomous and poisonous guards. He'd know how thanks to the toxicology book in his library. You kick open the door to see rich Uncle Cheval sitting at a table across from Clara, the woman who stole his glittering jewels. Cheval turns to face you shocked. "Good evening, detective. So nice of you to join us. We were just enjoying a light meal." Cheval smiles and slices an apple in half. He takes one half and gives the other to Clara. You're about to tell her to stop, certain she's about to be poisoned by Cheval in revenge for taking the glittering jewels. But Cheval chuckles and confidently eats his half of the apple unfazed. Something tells you the meal isn't safe, but Cheval ate his half of the apple unharmed. Where could the poison be? Is it A in the apple, B in the wine, C on the knife, or D on the plate? While you might initially suspect the wine, the wax sealing the cork is uncracked, so it hasn't been opened. If it were in the apple already, why would Cheval be so willing to eat some? The same goes for the plate. Why would he risk eating something from a plate he's coated with poison? It doesn't make sense. The answer, then, is the knife. Cheval smeared poison across one half of the knife so that when he sliced the apple, only Clara's half would be tainted. Unfortunately, as you were in the middle of explaining this, Clara took a big bite out of the poisoned apple. Oops. How did this lady ever execute a glittering jewel heist? Cheval laughs, explaining the poison will take effect in mere minutes. Obviously enjoying your distress, Cheval places 3 glasses on the table in front of you. He tells you that one glass contains the antidote, while the other 2 contain more of the poison. The question is, which glass do you give to Clara? Cup A, Cup B, or Cup C? Okay, well, it's impossible to tell which one's which by just looking at the glasses. So let's think about this logically, detective style. If 2 of the glasses contain the same poison Clara's already ingested, and the other contains an antidote, then only one solution makes sense. You quickly pour the contents of all 3 glasses down Clara's throat. Because Clara's already poisoned, all that matters is that she gets the antidote, and this is the fastest way to do it. Shocked at your ingenuity, Cheval shrugs and admits defeat. You quickly turn Cheval into the authorities for his despicable plot, and Clara as well for the glittering jewel theft. As the sun rises over the old guest house, you congratulate yourself on a case well solved. Phew, that was a crazy case, and those were some intense riddles. How did you get on? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you'd like to see our detective on another adventure. Until then, thanks for watching.